Okay, Rob, you must have been greatly buoyed by last weekend.
Yeah, it's just the result we wanted. Obviously, we're very well. A lot of people was talking about how few home league games we've won in the last 6 or 7 games. So very important, not just to get a home win, but obviously against one of the higher ranked teams in the league. And of course, the manner in which we did it was very pleasing as well. How well we defended, how few points we conceded, and then to also be chasing a potential bonus point try at the end, as I said, was it kind of capped off what was an all-round performance for us.
I think you struggled a little bit when you went down to 14 against Gloucester, but of course you effectively scored the decisive try when you were down to 14 in this one.
Yeah, I actually don't think that probably wasn't the important period for us in the game. I think by then we had the game by the scruff of the neck really, and we looked very comfortable and confident. I think it was the 10 minutes after half time that took a bit of weathering when Harlequins scored a very good try, got field position on us from a little bit fortunately. But then managed to score their try, and of course that brought them right back into the game on the scoreboard. And I thought then we were a little bit hesitant, a little bit probably too defensive, and chased field position maybe a little bit too much. But to be fair, we weathered pretty much everything that Harlequins threw at us in that period. And as you say, then came through and scored some very good tries to make it what looks like a comfortable win. I think in reality the game wasn't quite that comfortable. But we did put in a high level of performance for the full 80 minutes, which was very pleasing.
I know you like to look at the league in blocks of whatever up until Europe, so it's going to be 6 on this occasion. How do you view the next 2? Because on paper, and rugby's not played on paper, but they both look winnable, don't they?
They do. But I think every game we've played has looked winnable because I think we've been on good form. But I think the big issue with this game is that I know people will talk about there's pressure on Newcastle because they're towards the bottom of the table. But in some ways, is there any pressure on a team that's lost 19 or 20 games? Well, not really, because in a way you can go out and play because no one's really expecting any different result, but you can get out there and play and put in one of those big emotional performances, and you can celebrate having your first win in a long time. And that's the danger with Newcastle, is that very few teams go on losing runs that go on forever. And I think the danger is you don't want to be the team that changes that. We've looked at a lot of what they've done. They have expanded their game as they said they would. They have broadened the threatening game they can play. And we have to be very aware, because in some ways they bring more threats than Harlequins, and that might sound a little bit strange, but the way Harlequins played, we defended against that very well. We snuffed out some key individuals for them. We're going to be attacked in a different way at Newcastle, and we have to be just as focused on the way Newcastle attack and prepared to be just as physical for just as long.
Is it a case of trying to get that mindset the same as it was before the Welsh game, for example?
A little bit. I think obviously the mental challenge of any sport is a massive part of it. I think for us now what we have to look at is what is our motivation. The motivation maybe at the start of the season was very much getting some points on the board, maybe proving a few people wrong who seemed to be saying that we were a side in decline, interestingly enough, and obviously we knew that wasn't the case, and we felt confident that wasn't the case. But I think now it's slightly different. We've got a good solid foundation to the season, and I think our motivation now is what we can see in the future. Winning games of rugby and collecting points makes this first block of Premiership games very exciting for us, and I'd like to think the players' motivation is that they can see we're in 4th now. They can see there's some tough games for the teams that are above us, and that should be a huge motivation to go out and collect points, because we can move up the table from where we are now, which is 4th. Now, what I have to hope and what I expect and what I'll try and demand from the players is that our motivation to look at the positive end of the table is higher than the motivation for Newcastle to get away from the bottom, and that's very much going to be the battle.